What's up guys, Professor Croak here, and I'm here to bring you guys Team of the Week number 12, and this team was made by Ocelot, and it's a UU team called the Synergetic 6, and I really like this team a lot because Ocelot covers up the weaknesses with resistances, and it's a very offensive team, as well as a bit defensive as well. He has the Empoleon going on there. So anyways, let's get to the first Pokemon. It's actually Crobat, and this Crobat is going to have Leftovers as the item, Inner Focus as the ability, 72 HP EVs, 248 attack, 8 special defense, 180 speed, and it's gonna be jolly natured with U-turn, Brave Bird, Taunt, and Roost. Now here's a little analysis on Crobat. Crobat is here primarily to deal with the fighting types, in particular Heracross, one of the hardest Pokemon in the tier to switch into. Crobat double resists both its stabs, meaning the only way Heracross is touching Crobat is with Stone Edge, which still doesn't OHKO unless Heracross is choice banded. It also has a very nice double grass resistance, making an excellent switch into Virizion and Shaymin. Although it can't switch in, Crobat is quite helpful against the speedy psychic types, Azelf and Alakazam, before Alakazam moved up, since it outspeeds them both and can Brave Bird them or just U-turn out. Speaking of U-turn, this was Ocelot's move of choice in the 4th slot because keeping momentum is important for this team, and finally a combination of Crobat's fast taunt, instant recovery, good bulk, and poison immunity means it does quite well against many defensive Pokemon. Now the next Pokemon is Heracross, and Heracross is going to have choice bands. It's going to have Guts as the ability, 252 attack, 4 special defense, 252 speed, and it's going to be positive attack natured Adamant. Megahorn, Close Combat, Earthquake, and Stone Edge are its moves. So one of the powerhouses of the team, being Heracross, pretty good prediction is needed to get the best out of Heracross, but there are very few Pokemon that can switch into both Heracross's stabs and its coverage moves. So Adamant is chosen over Jolly for the extra power, and it means many physical walls will have trouble switching into this Heracross. Just to give an idea of how powerful this Pokemon is, even with physically defensive Hippowdon, Hippowdon takes 48% to 56% from either Megahorn or Close Combat, meaning it can be 2 KO'd as long as the user doesn't get low damage rolls. So Earthquake might seem like a wasted move slot, and that's mostly true, but it does mean that it can keep Nidoqueen away, and Nidoqueen is a bit of an annoyance to this team. Other options for the last move slot are Pursuit, which Ocelot used to have, but almost never used it. Night Slash, mainly for hitting Dusclops, although Megahorn already OHKOs Mismagius and Frostlass, and Knockoff, since things like Gligar and Dusclops can wall with this Heracross without Eviolite. So knocking that Eviolite would be really useful. Anyways, going to the next Pokemon, it's Chandelure, or Chandelure, however you want to say it. It does have choice specs. Flash Fire is its ability, 252 special attack, 6 special defense, 252 speed. It's timid natured with Overheat, Shadow Ball, Energy Ball, Hidden Power, Fighting. And Chandelure keeps helps patch up the massive weakness this team has to fire types. Things like Darmanitan and Victini can just spam their fire stabs and wreck this team without Chandelure, so it's important you keep it in good health as long as the opponent has one of those. Anyways, with choice specs equipped, Chandelure becomes extremely powerful, and the only Pokemon that can really switch into it safely is Snorlax. Trace Porygon 2 is easily 2-hit KO'd by HP fighting, and if it doesn't have Trace, then Overheat, which is chosen over Fire Blast and Flamethrower for extra power, takes off about 80% of its HP in one hit. Damn. Energy Ball isn't that useful since Chandelure can already 2-hit KO most bulky waters with Shadow Ball, but it's nice to be able to OHKO Swampert, and it does just around 80% to Blastoise, and sometimes one would sacrifice Chandelure against Blastoise if they really want to stop it from spinning. It also makes a decent check to Heracross and other fighting types if Crobat is down, since it's immune to close combat and double resist Megahorn, although the SR weakness, Stealth Rocks, and no recovery means it definitely won't like switching into Stone Edge. And yeah, so now we have Empoleon, which is going to get leftovers, of course Torrent for the ability, 252 HP EVs, 244 special defense, and 12 speed EVs with Calm Nature, Stealth Rock, Scald, Ice Beam, and Roar. So Empoleon is really the only Pokemon on this team that's fully defensive. This team mostly relies on resistances rather than having defensive Pokemon, which I said in the beginning. And Empoleon has a nice set of resistances, including but not limited to Ice Beam and just Ice types in general. This team has 3 Pokemon weak to Ice, so this is important. Normal, mostly. This is helpful for dealing with Stoutland. Empoleon is often the first switch into it, as one would not risk Chandelure to Crunch, which Stoutland does often carry. And Dragon, meaning if the Pokemon locks their Flygon into Outrage, therefore, it's the death sentence for it, pretty much. So, yeah, the Flygon would definitely be gone as soon as it uses Outrage. Just anything, any Pokemon that locks itself into Outrage is pretty much screwed. Empoleon is the best solution to Chandelure and Bisharp. Brick Breaks, Swords Dance, Bisharp is one of the biggest threats to this team. Empoleon is chosen over other bulky waters due to its ability to set up Stealth Rocks. And the speed EVs are there for Pokemon who might aim to outspeed Empoleon by a diminutive amount of points, such as Rhyperior. So next is Shaymin, yes. So Shaymin has Life Orb and Natural Cure, which is really useful. 252 special attack EVs, 4 special defense EVs, and 252 speed EVs. It's going to have Timid Nature, Seed Flare, Hidden Power Ice, Rest, and Earth Power. And Shaymin is here to deal with bulky water types. The main reason it's chosen over other grass types is because it has the ability Natural Cure, meaning it's not crippled by Scald Burns, which are quite bothersome. It gets decent coverage with its 3 moves. Seed Flare, it's very powerful due to the fact that it has a chance to drop the target's special defense. If Snorlax switches into a Seed Flare and gets a special defense drop, then it means that Shaymin can actually 2-hit KO Snorlax, forcing it to switch out or die. So Earth Power hits fire types attempting to take a Seed Flare, which HP Ice hits flying types as well as Flygon. When Shaymin near death, one can use Rest to heal it, and then wake up after switching out thanks to Natural Cure, which is really useful, and it's just gonna become really useful and annoying for the opponent. So next up is Flygon. Yes, Flygon. Flygon is actually used very commonly in UU. It's gonna have Choice Scarf, Levitate, 252 physical attack, 4 special defense, 252 speed, with Jolly Nature, U-Turn, Stone Edge, Earthquake, Outrage. Now Flygon is the team's Revenge Killer and Scout. Even though Flygon's lack of power is a disappointment at times, this set is Jolly Nature so that we can at the very least tie with the other Scarf Flygons and other base 100 speed Scarfers. U-Turn lets the team keep momentum, which, as already mentioned, is quite significant. Earthquake and Outrage are there since they have a marvelous coverage together and get Stab. Stone Edge hits fire types when the user doesn't want to lock themselves into Earthquake, with the choice item. Rotom H, as well as flying types such as Zapdos, are going to be with the Stone Edge. Flygon is also the best switch into Rhyperior since it resists its stab combination. Alright, and so we're pretty much done with the whole team. I just wanted to go over some threats to this team. Zapdos is a threat. This team has no safe switch into it. If Chandelure is at full HP, it can survive one Thunderbolt, even from Spec Zapdos and Oko with Overheat. Shaymin can hope to win the speed tie and 2-hit KO it with HP Ice. It's also a decent solution to Subtoxic Zapdos since its only attack is Thunderbolt. And Empoleon can survive a T-Bolt and try and weaken it, so it's in range for Flygon's Stone Edge. Speaking of Flygon, it can take Zapdos if it doesn't have HP Ice. Now the next threat is Nidoqueen, not Nidoqueen, Nidoqueen is a threat, but just Nidoking since it is preferred. And it has a lot of coverage, but this team has no switch into Nidoking, and Nidoking can come in and revenge very easily. Luckily, most of this team can revenge kill it just as simply as it can revenge kill this team. If one can get Flygon in on anything but Ice Beam, then they're in a good spot. But Shaymin can revenge kill it with Seed Flare or Earth Power as well, and Chandelure happens to outspeed it if it happens to be Modest Nature though. So there's a exception there. And Raikou is the next threat since most have HP Ice. It's risky to go on Flygon. It also outspeeds the rest of this team, which is a really crucial attribute to threats to the team, except Crobat though. So who doesn't want to be anywhere near Raikou though, because for obvious reasons. It's not as bad as Zapdos, but still quite threatening. Brick Break, Swords Dance, Sucker Punch, and Iron Head Bisharp is really annoying to this team as well. One has to try to keep Heracross and Shaymin in good health, or it will easily sweep them if it gets a chance to use Swords Dance. If it doesn't have Brick Break, then Empoleon easily beats it. Orsalot says that Bisharp sometimes makes him wish his Chandelure set had Substitute set instead of Specs. Cobalion is also another threat, although not that common. It's still a huge threat to this team. It outspeeds everything on this team except Flygon and Crobat, thanks to its good defense stat and steel typing. Crobat struggles against it, unlike most other fighting types, which Crobat can indeed wall. And the set with Swords Dance, Close Combat, and Stone Edge hits the whole team pretty hard. One would usually have to go to Crobat and hope for the Stone Edge miss. If it doesn't, however, then they have to revenge it with Flygon. So, not that big of a threat, but it's still, it's just annoying in general. Another really annoying thing is Mew. It's bulky and unpredictable, always an annoying Pokemon to face. And lastly, we do indeed have Snorlax. It hardwalls Chandelure and Shaymin. If the user doesn't get a special defense drop with Seed Flare, they better switch out. And Heracross takes a lot of damage switching into Body Slams, which is not good. So Snorlax does indeed seem like one of the biggest threats, other than Cobalion and Zapdos and Nidoking. So as well as Raikou, just everything that outspeeds this team seems to this team seems to have a problem with, but people don't really run like super speedy teams anymore since UU is more defensive. But if paired up with the right Pokemon, Snorlax can indeed be annoying. And thanks for watching, guys. This is Professor Croak, and that was my analysis on the whole team. And yeah, so see you guys later. Thanks for watching. I love this team. Use it. Ladder with it. Yes.